What if the home you can't afford just needs a little vision? The truth is, some of the most affordable homes on the market are the ones that most buyers are skipping right now. Why is that, you ask? In today's market, affordability is one of the biggest challenges buyers face. But what is the solution? Is it waiting for prices or rates to drop? I don't think so. But expanding your strategy, changing things up, figuring out how you can better equip yourself in today's market. In this episode, we're connecting the dots between fixer uppers, renovation loans, and how they can open the door to affordable home ownership. If you've been priced out of today's market, this might be the opportunity that you didn't know existed. So let's jump into it. You got your boy
Oh,
Gabby and Sean. And oh man, we missing one. Where will mine at? Technical difficulties. But hey, I'm sure either he'll jump in with us or we'll see Mr. Will Montberry on next week. But nevertheless, we got about 15 minutes, LaShawn. Let's give the people some good insight on how, maybe doing a renovation loan, doing a just do a blank. How can it be more affordable by going that route to do a fixer up or doing a renovation loan?
yeah. So, man, I love this topic. I met with a group of women maybe about a month or so ago, and we've been
Shout them
looking
women
at
out. Shout them women out.
our wire group with our NARAB, our Charleston area Realtors Association. They did a wire women in real estate investing event about a month or so ago, and it opened my eyes, and we started really talking about strategy, right? Because nowadays we know affordability is one of the big hot topics around the low country, just because Charleston is booming. A lot of people are moving here, and the prices of homes are honestly they've skyrocketed. And so a lot of times those first time home buyers, they're getting priced out because the average home price here in the low country
Ooh,
is nearing 400 to a half $1 million.
sweet
And an
Jesus.
average first time home buyer just can't afford it. And so what's being overlooked are your fixer uppers, those homes that maybe need a little bit more TLC. And usually most first time home buyers, they kind of want like a turnkey property. They want the beautiful shiny finishes and fixtures, the nice floors and things like that, but that comes with a hefty price tag. And so what we're going to talk about today is just some strategy around like maybe changing your mindset to maybe look at a fixer upper, and we can tell you from a lending standpoint how we can definitely help you get the financing for that, because we can do renovation loans and things like that. So we'll dive into that as well.
So
So let's
so
get
I,
to the first.
I
Go
did
ahead.
I did hear you. You jumped in. You did say one thing
Mhm.
that a lot of people are, they're wanting the newer homes. They're wanting the homes that are
Mhm.
ready to move in. But why is that? And tell people why turnkey homes are more expensive.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's convenience, right? I mean, I ain't gonna lie, like sometimes most people don't want to, do the legwork. We just did some landscaping at our own house,
Oh
and
my
it's, I mean,
lord! They
it's
said, be a homeowner. They said it's the greatest thing in the world. They
I
said.
mean, it's taxing, right? Because you got to do the labor, and it depends on how you grew up, right? If you're not very handy or you have no idea how to use, all these fancy tools, or what it requires to pull up something and break
Hey,
something down
shout
or
out to
dig
my
up
mama
something.
for making sure I was out there in that yard doing yard work. Now I know how to do it as an adult.
Yeah. So, but when you buy a house that's already pretty and buttoned up and you ain't got to do nothing, you just got to move your furniture in, it's convenient, right? So, people generally pick the turnkey property because of convenience. But convenience does come at a higher premium. It costs more money to truly purchase that turnkey home versus the one that needs that little bit of elbow grease. So let's go into the next one. So let's truly talk about the opportunity and fixer uppers. So, Gavin, why should buyers truly consider the properties that really need a little work based on, what we've been kind of, hitting at here with affordability?
All right. Well, I look at it from a maybe a three standpoint approach, right? So first, you have homes that are typically priced lower.
Yeah.
So people aren't asking for the high dollar value when they're trying to sell something that needs a lot of work. So you can get a deal or you can get a steal in
Yeah.
today's market. Going with a home that needs some work done to it. And
Mhm.
then like option number two, well, not option, but bullet point number two, there's less competition.
That's true.
Unless you're in a and it really doesn't even matter. But you have investors who are most likely maybe looking for these type of properties as opposed to first time home buyers. So the competition, the field is less volatile. You're going to have less competition to where you know you may have better negotiating leverage because that home may sit out there or there's no other offers on it. So again, there's your opportunity to really negotiate your price point, what you're willing to purchase that for. And
That's
then
such
I
a
would
good point.
say, yeah, yeah. And then I would also say it gives like new buyers a chance to build equity immediately. When you buy something at a deal or a discounted price, guess what? The value may still be there. Like it's going to be higher in value. It's just that you're paying less money for it. So once
Mhm.
you do what you need to do, and and even if you don't do anything, let's say the home is on the market for 150,000. That is bananas here in the Charleston market,
I know.
in the Tri County area. But let's say you can buy a home that is really kind of run down, really needs a lot of work. Guess what? Even though it needs a lot of work, and an appraiser still has to value that home based on market conditions in a sense.
Yeah.
Yes, we're going to take into consideration that there are certain things about the home that needs to be updated or repaired, but the value is still going to be there. And if you're buying that for 150 and the value of that home is 350, 400,000, guess what? You already got over 150, $200,000 in equity
Mhm.
when you purchase that home. And then you can tap into that equity to do guess what? Fix it up, make it what you want,
Yeah,
customize it,
or reinvest. You can use
or
that equity to
or
reinvest it
reinvest.
and buy something else. So that's such sound advice. All right, so let's get into some of the meat and potatoes of, this particular episode. Like, when you can't find an affordable home, you might truly just be looking at the wrong one. So here's a strategy that you guys can definitely consider. So something called a renovation loan. I think they don't get enough love and attention as your typical, down payment assistance or first time home buyer loan or VA loan or something like that. But a renovation loan could truly be a game changer to a lot of people because what that particular loan program type allows you to do in a nutshell, it pretty much allows you to purchase the home and purchase the cost of the renovations and finance it all together in one loan. I mean,
Mm.
come on now. So this is not truly additional money that you have to come out of your pocket for, but you can finance the cost to make those cosmetic or even those bigger repairs to your property. So
Yeah,
let's
one caveat to that. Now, of course, you still have to do your down, provide your down payment, whatever the
yes,
minimum down payment requirement is for FHA 3.5, conventional anywhere from 3 to 5. So,
correct,
still got to
correct,
cover
correct.
your down payment.
You do have to cover your own down payment, but outside of that, you can finance in the cost of it. So there's two major types of renovation loans, but there's several different ones. But the ones that we're going to talk about today are specifically the FHA 203K, which is one of the most popular, and then the conventional, which is called a home style renovation loan. So with the FHA 203K and the conventional loan, what they allow you to do is once again allow you to, let's say if you had a house that you saw, and let's say if it needed cosmetic work, you didn't like, the paint, they had like some green paint, you didn't like, all the appliances and fixtures were outdated, they didn't have the updated flooring, they had carpet everywhere that needed to be ripped up, things like
Mm-hmm.
that. You can use any one of those loans to finance the cost of that. And so how that typically works is you do have to get an estimate done. So you need to get either a contractor out there, or if it's just cosmetic stuff, you can pull invoices or get quotes for the different things that you want to fix because we're going to need to know, what this cost is going to be that you're trying to finance in. And so one of the things I try to give a little disclaimer that you got to be careful at too is you don't want to necessarily over improve a home from a cosmetic standpoint and then the house doesn't appraise because the house do have to appraise based on, this additional money that you're wanting to borrow to finance in the cost. Gavin, did you want to add anything there regarding the renovation loans?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's I think a lot of people are kind of hesitant or afraid to kind of
Mhm.
go that route, just because it
Yeah.
involves them having to do, get the legwork of finding a good
Yeah.
contractor. I
Yeah.
mean, for those of us who may not, you don't know a good contractor, you've never had to hire a contractor before, and you've heard other people horror stories about, I hired this person to do something, and they just walked off the job. I never even saw them, or whatever it may be. And
You're right.
they left me with, with a broken heart, and an unfinished house. So
Yeah.
that's one of the hesitance of why I think people are, so reluctant to explore that option.
Yeah, but the
Um,
other thing I would add to that too, Gavin, is that I would strongly encourage people to not
mhm,
to not let the fear of the
right,
unknown or the fear of the extra steps of uncomfortability of you having to reach out and maybe ask more questions or do a little bit more legwork truly stop you in your tracks from considering doing something with renovations, because it can truly be the solution to this affordable, housing issue that we definitely have here in the low
right,
country, because it can definitely allow you to still own a house, because one thing that we would always say is we are 100% a proponent of homeownership, right?
right,
Homeownership over renting, homeownership to help start building your generational wealth and so forth. So you definitely want to figure out what's going to be the best strategy for you so that you can own a house. So when it comes to the affordability piece, we kind of already touched on that, is that it allows, one of the things we didn't mention is that it allows you to kind of, purchase a home a lot sooner versus waiting. Because a lot of times I think people have gotten spoiled with COVID, and we hear a lot of times people are still kind of sort of waiting for the
mhm,
market to crash. They're waiting for, these deals to come from somewhere. They're waiting for prices to drop, interest rates to drop. They're just waiting. And unfortunately, sometimes when you do too much waiting, it can cost you more in the
yeah.
future.
Another thing is, with the benefit of it, is like you don't have to do everything at once. When you can buy at a low price point, and you have built-in equity that you can use, now or for the future. So instead of, doing that big renovation to get that house perfect, to make it your
Mhm.
dream house all at once, instead of financing $400,000, you know what? Let me get the essentials done right now, um, to where I'm only financing $200,000. I'm keeping my
Right.
payment at a comfortable level. I'm living, and guess what? I still have that $200,000 of equity that I can tap into, when I need it, when I'm ready to add that, to renovate the kitchen or renovate the bathroom,
Yeah.
and I can do it over time. So that's a big positive to, first getting in the home, making it livable, and then you have the equity in the home that you can tap into to make those renovations and along the way. Everything doesn't have to be done at turn, at the closing.
Yeah, that's such a good point. And I think, and so I will always like to, make sure people understand that everyone's situation is different and every property is different too. So when it comes to like cosmetic stuff or whatever, definitely those things I think you can kind of, build your way to, like Gavin
Mhm.
said, make those small changes, as time progresses and as time allows, or as your budget allows you to do. But then there's some things like if it's like structurally safety issues in the house, like plumbing, electrical, HVAC, those major things or whatever, you want to make sure that you get those things knocked out right away. And a renovation loan can definitely help with that as well. Because from a
Mhm.
lending standpoint, we're going to require that, because from a financing standpoint, the house has to at least be at minimum in a livable condition, and what each loan program kind of deems to be, meet a minimum property requirement standard. So it has to have certain things in the house, and those certain things have to be in a certain condition in order to get financing. So if the house is completely, let's say, gutted and they got all this stuff dilapidated and falling down, we can't just finance that. So you would have to at least borrow the money to do the renovation loan to get it to a livable structure. And then over time, you can kind of do some things to cosmetically make it your own. So I just wanted to make sure we put that out there too.
Yeah,
So
great stuff. So
last but not least, Gavin, wrap us up before we end. I promise you, this 15 minutes do go by.
Oh yeah,
fast.
I
It
think
goes
we
by
gave people a
very
lot of good information.
yeah.
Just in closing, who is this strategy perfect for? It's perfect for
Mhm.
first time home buyers that are priced out of the market. If it's not affordable for you right now, look into the options of renovation loans, buying a property that needs some work. Buyers willing to trade perfection for equity. And that's again, we talked about where you're getting a deal, buying a house, getting the house, get and enjoy and benefit from paying the lower price, but still having the high value for what that home is worth. And then, really quick to address misconceptions of that people think. They think it's too complicated. Well, with the right
Mhm.
team, it can be structured, and we hold your hand and walk you through it.
Correct.
Or people think it costs too much. Well, that cost is planned up front. It's planned into your loan, so you don't have to worry about these surprise costs out of pocket. And then you just simply don't know where to start. Well, guess what? You already you know where to start now because you're listening. You're talking to professionals. You're tuning in.
You're listening to professionals.
That's right. You're listening to professionals. Yeah, well, they ain't talking, but my boy Enoch, he be talking to us. He be,
Yes, homeownership is key. I definitely agree.
All right, right. So yeah, so guys, real quick, Sean, you want to give them a call to action? Let them know
Yeah. So,
what they can
last
do
but not
next.
least, if you're definitely sitting on the sidelines and you want to see if, a renovation loan may be a good fit for you, definitely reach out to myself, reach out to Gavin, reach out to our partner, Mr. Wilmot Berry down there in Orangeburg. Anyone else can kind of get that conversation started with you to see if how to make home ownership possible for you. So until next time, guys, we hope you guys have a great week and thank you guys for tuning in.
Yes, sir.